Every hike I do comes with risk. What are you willing to risk to complete your hikes? Today we're in the Los Padres National Forest, and this is part 5 of my Santa Barbara adventures. Today I will go up through the West Fork Cold Springs Trail to trek my way up to Tangerine Falls. There will be 3 river crossings on this hike, 2 of which I cross, 1 in which I found a way to navigate around that. This is a short but difficult hike, and a very rewarding hike as well. Just keep in mind, just because it's 2 miles round trip does not mean it's easy. This is a difficult hike, and get prepared to get wet. So here is the start of the trail. You will see that bridge and this sign right here. I will start from the left side and try to cross the first river. So I'm just gonna head up through this brush. You can see a lot of oak trees, a lot of flowers blossoming through this hike. And this is the West Fork Montecito Creek pouring down. And this is just an amazing trail. Lots of shade, lots of water. And this is the first major river crossing I was discussing. So when I attempted to cross this river, I realized how raging it was. I could have done it, but I like to work smarter and not harder. So I opted to re-navigate around it and go back to the start of the trailhead, which is where the bridge was at, which was right here. So from here, you're going to be able to see that there's a trail on the other side right here. So right there is a trail, and right there we're going to go across that bridge from where we seen earlier. So now we're on the other side of the trail. And right here, you just get these nice sweeping views of the Montecito Creek. And down there, there's actually a trail which you cross from that river. And I want to point to this right now. But if you look at the trail right there, see where that bridge is at? So you can go up through that side right there. But I came up through the opposite side because of the river. However, there will be 2 more major river/creek crossings on this hike that I will have to do. So those were actually pretty deep, but I will get to those later on this hike. And as mentioned earlier in the video, one of those river crossings did cost me something very valuable. So I was actually very lucky to get this footage and finish this hike. The great thing about this trail is it branches off to other trails and other hikes that will lead you to different destinations. You could check out Montecito Peak, Cold Springs. But right now, at this point of the hike, we actually got to cross one of the major rivers/creeks. So right here, I really had to navigate my way through it. I did have to hop over some boulders, and you can see right now it's pretty deep, and I did manage to make it across. So that was the second major river crossing that I had to do. And you can see we're back on the trail, and We got all this lush forestry around us. And there are some streams that you will walk through on the trail. You will see all these nice little cascades pouring down the Santa Ynez Mountains as you trek your way up through this hike. And there is plenty of oak trees on this hike. So I would say you probably want to do this in spring, right after the rainstorms. However, keep in mind that the water levels will be higher. So if you were to do it, let's say at the end of May or early June, then this hike will actually be an even better time to do it because the water levels will be lower, so it'll be easier to cross over the rivers/creeks. And you can see some of the elevation gain on this hike. And this is just a beautiful trail. You get all these nice little flowers on it. And you can see the Pacific Ocean from a distance. So the trail is actually pretty well paved up to a point. It's going to be pretty difficult later on in this hike when the trail just kind of disappears and you just got to navigate your way through the creek and the rocks. And that's where some of the rock scrambling and boulder hopping experience sort of comes in handy. And you can just see the steep drop-offs that starts to occur as you get further along the hike. And you get these just amazing views of Montecito Creek and the Santa Ynez Mountains as you go through this hike. And you can see the waterfall from a distance. So we're getting pretty close to it. We're not too far from it. And you do get all these nice green plants on the hike. So that's definitely one of the benefits of this hike. And you can see a left side and a right side. We're actually going to go on this right side where that water pump is at. So there is actually a pump, a water pump or irrigation system that actually runs down from this creek into Santa Barbara and Montecito, which is pretty interesting. So a good source of the water comes from here. And this is the point where we actually have to cross one of the rivers. So we actually have to make our way to the other side. We're going to have to hop along there. So this one is not too crazy. I wouldn't consider this a major river crossing because it's quite manageable. You do have to do a little bit of rock climbing over on this one though to get to the other side, as this is kind of where the trail just starts to disappear. However, there is a path that will merge back on, but at some point the trail will just completely disappear and you're gonna have to just navigate your way through those rocks. And you can just see the nice turquoise water, and you can see the waterfall coming down through. So this isn't a crazy creek crossing right here. You can see all this nice greenery surrounding us. And I did do this on a sunny day, and I gotta admit, it's very difficult to film good footage on a sunny day. So I did the best I can to actually put this video together, knowing that there were many parts of the hike that were overexposed from the sun. And we have to climb up there to get up to that other side up there. So this is part of the hike where you just, like I said, you got to navigate through the rocks and the creek. And you can see a nice little cascade coming down there. So this year there is a good amount of water coming down, and this is the hard part right here. This is the part where I actually damaged my iPhone Pro Max 13. So there's actually a rope that you got to get to, but the water right there is really deep, as you could see. And I actually had gotten my phone soaked on that hike. And we're almost there. Yes, so that phone was about, I think, $1,200. And unfortunately, it was completely damaged by the time I finished the hike. So I was actually without a phone for about 4 days. I actually had to replace it with a new iPhone. However, that is one of the risks of hiking. Sometimes electronics and goods will be damaged, so just be very careful. And voila, I have finally reached Tangerine Falls. I hope you enjoyed this hike. Don't forget to like and subscribe.